Hey everyone, thank you for checking into our video today. I'm Anthony along with my co-host.
Shaisha.
Hello.
Hi.
And we are going into our time travel box, as I would like to call it, as we are going to be going over Degrassi, The Next Generation. We're going to be watching every episode, giving you a recap of each episode. Basically, the whole theme of this series is we're watching stuff that we watched as kids and we're giving you our thoughts on it now. So, before we dive into the show, what do you remember about watching Degrassi when you were little? When did you start watching it? How did that all play out for you?
I think I believe I started watching it in middle school. And
Yeah.
then for me it was like a different type of show. Like, you know how like you're so used to Disney Channel and you're so used to Nickelodeon. This show was more like kind of like how Lifetime is. Like it's like based off of like real situations. It's not like that like ha 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 type of scenarios where it's just like kind of fake, to be honest, with like Disney Channel being so childlike. So this is more like realistic things could happen.
Yeah.
So for me, I think that's what I found interesting with the show. So I was able to kind of, well, I got interested in that type of aspect of it because I'm like, oh, like this is actual kids like playing in these type of scenarios where it's like maybe it could happen. It was kind of like some of them were a bit over dramatic,
Mm-hmm.
but but it is like more realistic and more like in a serious way. So
Yeah, I agree
I
with
thought
you.
it was pretty cool.
I agree too because I remember this girl I used to talk to used to always talk about the show and try to get me into it. I never wanted to watch it, and then one day I was like, "Well, if there's something else on, let me try it." And I didn't watch it in order because I back in the
Neither did
day,
I.
yeah, like we couldn't go on the computer and watch it now. We had to just see what we could see. So I remember like when they would do the marathons of like from the beginning, I get all excited. But
Mm-hmm.
I was drawn into the storylines because there were a lot of different characters and you could relate to at least one of them. So
Yeah, I
I
thought it was cool too because they were able to do that as well instead of just having like the same type of people.
Yeah, and like there's definitely like parts within the first and a couple episodes of the first season that I can relate to some of the characters. But yeah, I also I agree with you how it was cool to see young kids or teenagers playing the character that they are because most of the time you see like High School Musical, they're like 26 pretending to be 14. And that doesn't
Right,
really
it's not like the same mentality that they
yeah,
have.
yeah.
Um,
And I think I was very into it because I'm someone who likes a lot of like seriousness, suspense, drama. I'm into all of that.
mm-hmm.
And I was like, damn. And also like you could kind of go through some of the things that some of the characters went through. I mean, there's some things like gonorrhea I've never been through. But
Yeah, but it is possible because it has happened in school. So
yeah, and so that's why I like it. And they
yeah,
make they make it sort of how sometimes if you watch a show and it's like, oh, it's like one of those like after school specials and you feel, man, this is corny. They weren't corny with it. They put like serious real situations kind of in the forefront, and I liked it
exactly.
because of that.
That's a good word for it because it was like I said, like with Disney Channel and like other shows like that, like shows that were just like way too kid friendly
Hmm.
to where like you don't really have like a good insight of what life is truly like. But with Degrassi, it's kind of like they put everything out there. It's not something that they're like covering up. Like like to make it a little bit more kiddish. Just like it's the real world, not like because life isn't like that. Life isn't like ha ha ha, like we're gonna laugh about our problems, and it's like no, like shit happens.
Yeah.
Like they had like suicide and shit, and I'm like, oh okay.
People getting killed, people having like
people getting shot and stuff, like
the bracelets for how far you go with the dude or whatever the hell it was. Like Jesus Christ, man, they were going deep. Yeah,
and then,
yo.
Like, getting pregnant at such a young age, like that's happened to us. Like in school, I had I think she was a freshman going into sophomore year, and she was pregnant and she had to leave, and like she came back like I think the end of her sophomore year. So it's like stuff that's like realistic, like I said. Like it's just like not something that you play a little skit and then it's supposed to be haha funny type of stuff. Yeah. It was like, what the hell are we gonna do? Like those type of scenarios.
Yeah. Well, this was one of those like one of the initial sort of like teeny boppery like coming of age type. You know how they have like, you know, now they have Riverdale. I mean, it's nothing like that, but you know, I remember a lot of teens would like it, and this is kind of like the beginning of teens kind of taking over TV, and like that's kind of what people want. They want their demographics to be like 18 and 34, and teenagers watch that type of stuff. But I remember watching this on the end, and by the time I got to like high school or middle school, I would feel so cool because I'm like, yeah, I'm at the age that JT was, or you know, like because you sort of see experiences and you get excited and think, oh, well, is that what's going to happen to me when I get to high school? Or is that what's going to happen to me? Like, oh, am I going to get a girlfriend? Is it so? It's like, you know, it came out the perfect time.
Yeah, I get what you mean by that. Like, it was, for me, it was kind of like scary because to see like how Degrassi played out, I was just like, I hope that's not how high school is.
Oh, yeah. You're like, uh-oh, I don't want to catch it.
Yeah, like people like hurting each other. Like there was like, I forgot his name, but he was like a part of this like group where they were just doing like crazy stuff and they were like stealing and.
Yep. I know exactly what you're talking about. Jay and Sean.
His name, Sean.
Yep.
He got into that group where they were just like stealing and stuff, and I was like, you're gonna have these kids in our school?
That was me at Rite Aid.
Possible. You said what?
I said that was me at Rite Aid. Oh my lord. Yeah. The group of people is myself and Nikki. Oh, I shouldn't be saying people's names.
You should stop.
She ain't watching anyway, so it's okay.
You just outed yourself.
Who care? Done. Anyways, that's for a different show. So
anyway.
But yeah, a funny story though. So when this came out, like it debuted in Canada in 2001, but it came out for us here in the States in 2002. And I remember going to the end all the time because after 9/11, I was scared. I was like, uh-oh, I don't want to see Osama bin Laden pop up on my TV. So I had certain channels that, like, I knew were going to be safe. And I remember the end was always, like, safe because they have... And I remember, like, having it in the background and seeing them young, but it wasn't until, like, middle school that I started to really pay attention to it. But, yeah.
See how far back that was.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was on. So it came on. The first episode in America came out on July 1st, 2002. So it was. Yep. So it was good. So let's get into this episode. This episode is a two-parter, but we only are going to be talking about part one. And this episode is called Mother and Child Reunion. Yes. Who's the mother and who's the child?
Aren't they talking about... So, I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
So, I know that I feel like majority of the time, because now that I'm remembering it, and now that I see the first episode, was Emma the one that was like the main character of the show, or you just think that that was just like how they started off? I feel like they talk about her a lot and her family.
Yeah, they do. It's like, so the first episode, it's weird because the first episode takes place during the summertime. So this is before they're
Okay.
actually in school. So it's a bit, I guess it starts off with her and she is important, but I think the only reason why, and this is a perfect segue into the episode, she's the main character in this episode is because Degrassi used to be a show on in Canada in the 80s and early 90s. And they were basically bringing back the characters when they were younger. And one of the characters is Spike, and her daughter is Emma. So I think they were kind of just trying to, like, almost like when they read, you know.
Yeah, like when they bring back characters, it's like they kind of put them in the limelight for
Exactly, kind of like Raven's Home. It's like
Yeah.
it's her, but it's about her kids. So it's like they're trying
Yeah.
to, yeah. But Emma definitely is one of the main characters of this show for sure, in my opinion at least. So the first,
I feel like I've seen her, but
yeah, she's always in it. But the episode opens with Emma, who is Spike's daughter. She and Manny are on the computer. Read it again, Manny, or whatever the hell it is. And she has been talking. What happened?
It's called Tree Mail.
Tree mail, yeah, because she's into nature, and so they talk through the trees. Yeah,
That's
tree
exciting.
mail. There's no AOL, I guess, over there.
Well,
So
I mean, they probably couldn't have put it in.
you're right. You are right because of everything going
Like
on.
censorship and stuff like that.
Yeah, they don't want to put that in and pay for it. So
Exactly.
basically, yeah, we meet Emma. She is talking about this boy Jordan that she met online. She's showing Manny him and basically talking about how they have a lot in common and that Jordan is coming to Toronto for a school field trip. And he basically asked Emma if she would like to meet him for the first time. So,
Probably a best man.
I don't trust him either, right? He might
It's like
be
the young catfish.
for real. So that's what I was going to talk about, the internet back then. Like, it's weird to see how, like, even back then, stuff like that was going on, that people were getting lured in. Possibly.
I feel like it was more possible back then.
Yeah.
There's no way of finding it out at
You're
that
right.
time.
You're right.
And so, especially with that, like, I feel like parents were more lenient with the way that they, like, you saw how, like, she was just, like, okay with her having it in her room.
Mm-hmm.
And her being so young, like you said, she was, like, 11 or 12. Like,
Yeah.
the fact that she was able to have that, I know that her parent was probably, like, on it with her as well, but to have that much of, like, openness to have a computer like that was just, like, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, I don't remember having a computer in my room until I was probably like in high school, swear to God. And I remember being excited. So yeah, it is weird that she's at that age. But like I guess the way it's presented is that the mom trusts her a lot because she's very educated and supposedly she is a good girl, but you never know. So
yeah, which I think that parents like to just like leave so much of like that open to make it, to allow that stuff to happen. But
yeah. Well, I remember going on the internet and doing some crazy stuff, so I've been there, but I've never, and we've all chatted with people, not knowing who they are on the other end.
But she's like, but the way that this is going about, it just like, with the Jordan thing, like, Did she say that she wanted to meet him, or were they just talking? Like, they were just like, because I know that she was saying that she was talking to him for a while.
Yeah, so she was talking to him for a while, and they have a lot of like similar thoughts about the world, and he's very much into nature. And basically, he wants to meet Emma because he has this petition going to try to save like the rainforest or something. And that's his, yeah, that's like his way of trying to meet her is by wanting her to sign this petition. So he's going to be going to Toronto, and he's thinking, oh, maybe I can meet you.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So that happens in the beginning. We see Emma and him talking about possibly meeting, and then we meet friends JT York, who he was so young back then. It's weird seeing him so little.
Damn, it's almost like it's like a weird flashback.
Yeah. Yeah, it totally is weird, and it's like, oh, look at how young he was, and it makes me think about what happens, and I'm not ready for it.
Right, me either.
I'm not ready.
Let's not at it.
Yeah, no, let's get into it now. We'll save that for like season 6. So, JT he sees his friend Toby Isaacs, who he went to summer camp with, and he does this really weird hikawa hekawa ba da 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 da. He does this weird sort of like
weird handshake.
yeah. Did you ever go to a summer camp before?
No, I never really have. I've been so scared. I used to be so scared of everything, so I never really like actually went out and did stuff like that.
Me either. That's I've never done that crap either. I've only went camping once and I hated it.
Oh, you actually went camping?
In sound school, well, my high school, we did like a remember that?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah. I didn't like it.
That as like that type of camp.
Well, but the difference was we had a different setup than you guys because we didn't have like a place to stay in. We had to stay in a tent on the water. Like there was like grass, and we had to make our own food. Like you guys had a place to stay in, like we literally.
Was it the same place that you went to?
What do you mean?
What was the place that you went to?
I went somewhere in like Guilford. There was like. Oh. There was no, like, there was no building. We had to, like, stay outside. We built our tent. To cook, we had to use, like, a grill thing. Like, it was literally freaking backwoods, and I was not ready.
Dang, they, like, upgraded us.
Yeah. Yeah. Because we probably complained so much. They probably weren't ready. But anyways, so, yeah, they like camping. Good for them, whatever. Also, a little important fact, the kid lives in Yellowknife. I wonder if there's any Yellowknifes there. Corny joke.
You say Yellowknife. Oh my goodness.
He lives in Yellowknife. I don't know where that is, but anyways. So, they're emailing each other back and forth. Mom rushes them out to go to school because she's having a 10-year reunion. And Emma, Manny, and JT drop off a series of boxes to the school. And that's when they drop the box and JT sees Toby and they get all excited to see each other. And JT introduces Toby to the girls, and they kind of give him like a really nasty attitude. I was not ready for that.
I was kind of like aware of that because he's supposed to be. I feel like JT and Toby are kind of like the weird ones out, but at this time, I feel like JT, I guess, is a part of the group for now, and then, Toby's kind of like, like the little nerd, like, hey.
The little nerd, that's nice.
Because the way that they looked, it was like, ew, like, who's that?
They're like, who is that?
Yeah.
So
I mean, Manny seems more, like, open to talking to him than, like, Emma is. But
Emma was not happy
the whole entire time.
She really wasn't. She was not playing.
He's just a little asshole.
Get out of my way. She a bitch. Anyway, so then we see a character named Joey. We meet him. He's a car salesman. For people who watched Degrassi High, they remember him back in the day. I never watched it, so these people were they were kind of like irrelevant because I didn't really know them. But anyways, he meets up with his old friend named Lucy, and he's trying to sell her a car. And Lucy says, "Oh, we have the high school reunion coming up. Are you going?" And he's like, "No, I'm not really going." And then she met
She
Lucy.
basically tells him to suck it up and go.
Yes. Well, he's sad because his wife Julia passed away a year ago.
Like literally a year ago, and she's all like, "Well, it was a year ago, so you should just like go to get it off your like." Shut up! I
She
thought that
re-
was so rude.
she wants him to shake his money maker. She is
He was
for real.
enough.
Yeah. But what do you think about Joey? Like, I kind of feel bad. Like, he looks like he's just like depressed and down on life, and like he has a daughter.
I mean, it's been a year, so I understand why he's upset. I just feel like his friends aren't being like great friends to him at the moment.
No,
Like they haven't seen each other for like I don't know how long,
like 10
and
years.
they notice that his wife has been dead for a year, and they're basically saying to him like, hey, like it's been a year.
Get over
Like
it.
I like you shouldn't tell anybody how to grieve.
Yeah.
So like that they're doing that, they're not really being that supportive.
Yeah. No, of course. And like I've had people in my life who've lost people and then like a month later wanted to be with other people, and like so people, have different things, but Joey's taking it really hard, and I understand because I would be like that too. They need to back up.
Yeah, like I just feel like they're just doing too much, and he's just like they're not really trying to like be there for him. So like, and he obviously is like very hurt by it, So it's like
Lucy, worry
I
about
didn't remember
yourself.
that part exactly.
Keep it moving. And Joey's daughter's name is Angela, if that matters. Okay, so we go back to the school. Emma, Manny, and JT. They find this character named Snake. He is a teacher, goes by Mr. Simpson, and he talks about how he was friends with Emma's mom, Spike, and everyone's obsessed with Joey's fedora, which is the ugly hat that they keep wearing. I guess it was very popular in the 80s. This was kind of just like a way to introduce Snake again. Nothing really important happens. He's just a character that was around back in the day, and he becomes a teacher.
And he's just like looking at old pictures.
Yeah, he's like, ooh, the 80s. And Emma's like, the 80s was so weird.
Yeah, that's about it.
It's like, bitch, you're weird with your friggin' crazy ass hair. She's rocking some crazy hair in this episode, guys. So then they discover the media immersion computer lab, and Emma wishes she can check the new email that Jordan sent her. Then we see Mr. Radish, the principal, giving a tour to Toby. That's when we already talked about she meets Toby, and he's all excited. Da, da, da. Then we see in a limo a lady named Caitlin Ryan, who used to be on the show as well. She's talking to her new fiance Keith. She goes to Degrassi and she begs. She doesn't. Yeah, she kind of does beg Keith to come. She's like, "Please come."
Yeah, she basically tells him like, "Hey, you should come." Like, trying to get him to come.
He's like, "No,
he
bitch."
Interested.
Yeah, he don't want to go. While she goes into Degrassi and she sees Joey, and they kind of look at each other and kind of walk off. So I'm assuming that on Degrassi High they might have had a relationship or something. And
I was thinking the same thing because they said the whole entire time, even when like later on when they got to hanging out, they like just look very off-putting. Like they just look like something happened between them, and they're just like, oh, like let's pretend like we're okay.
Has that ever happened to you? Because that's happened to me, where like you see someone from your past and you're like, do I say hi? Do I not say hi? And then sometimes you're like struck.
It's happened so many times, and I didn't mean to be like rude or anything, but I never wanted to like because the most times that has happened is when like I'm with someone that I'm like seeing, and then I'll see like my ex or something, and then I'm like, I don't want it to be weird, so like I just don't say anything and pretend like I never seen them.
You're like, I didn't see nobody.
Kind of bad, but like I just never know what to say.
No, yeah, it's a hard thing, but it looked as if though they both wanted to say hi to each other, but like were afraid to. That's what it
It
seemed
seemed like he
like.
was kind of excited to see her, but he was like he didn't want to overstep the boundary
No.
because she's seeing someone. So
And also, he's got a wife who's been dead for a year.
exactly. So it does show how awkward the whole encounter is.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, and it does get even more awkward later on in the episode. So then we see Emma, Manny, Toby, and JT. They're on the playground and they're talking about if Emma should meet Jordan or not. JT says that he might be a creep and working at a video store, while Toby warns them about the dangers of meeting someone from the internet. Emma responds saying that Jordan is not an unknown person and that she's known him longer than she's known Toby. Um, Nanny explains that Jordan is arriving as a part of a class trip. And then JT says, well, it's summer, which is a good point. Like, if he's on a class trip, why the hell is he on a class trip in the summer? Good catch, JT.
I like how I like how like on point the kids are.
Yeah,
Like we're
yeah.
I don't know. Like as nice of they're like really good friends to her, and she's just like
Mm-hmm.
trying to pull them off. Like, well, he is this, and he's
Mm-hmm.
no person, and they're like, well, it doesn't seem so.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. I can like, I hate saying this.
I
I
feel like
could,
I've been a bitch like that too.
yeah.
I wonder
No.
if like I had that conversation with you and you're like, well, no, Shy, she is real.
Oh
Or
yeah.
she does
Well,
blah, blah.
not about like that, but more so about like you want the person that you like to be like your thought to. Like, I really like this girl and I really want her to like me too. So like if you were like, oh, she doesn't really like you and she's using you. No, she's not. You know, like you get like
Yeah, I remember this one girl
mm-hmm,
from high school
mm-hmm,
that would used to tell you all the time. It would be me, Charlene, and other people, where we used to tell you that this person was using you, and you would be like, "No, she must really like me because this and because that," and it's like you were
uh-uh.
just like, "No, it's not. She really does, and
Yeah.
she wouldn't think this if this is," and we're like, "Yeah, she would."
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because
So,
it's like you have when you're in that spot. And I know I don't want to defend Emma at all because she should be listening to her friends, but it's like you feel like you have a deeper connection with this other person. So it's like your friends know what's
yeah.
going on, but they don't know the underside of it in your mind. And then, well, I don't want to say anything about this episode, but I found out that I should have listened to my friends because sometimes smiling faces, sometimes dot dot dot.
Mm-hmm.
You know the song. So JT was on point with that, and Emma just says, "Oh well, no, his trip was booked back in the spring, but he only got to go at the last minute." And that JT was making the situation to something it wasn't, nor did it have to be. So fuck you, JT. Emma's gonna go see him no matter what. So then Emma comes
Destroying their
home
future.
and Caitlin's looking at the Degrassi reunion website, and basically Emma and Manny recheck all the emails, and they find that there were no mentions of a video store or missing teeth when Manny speculates that JT was just worried about Emma, and Emma says JT is just immature. Emma, you need to back the fuck up. Like, really, man.
I didn't even remember her saying that, but damn.
Back up. Like, he's immature. You're the one talking to some person you don't even know online. Talk to someone that you know.
Well, like you said, like she's so invested in this person that she thinks that likes her so much that she's just like, she's gonna believe anything that he says,
Yeah.
no matter what, and is gonna defend him. I feel like I've done that too, where I've defended people that I don't know for that long, but like because I thought I knew them on a deeper level, I defended them more than I defended the people that I knew for like ever.
Yeah.
So, it happens.
Yeah, it sure does. Well, here's the part that kind of does sort of like cause us to speculate. So after that, Emma says she's never met a guy so smart and mature for his age. But then Manny comes back and says, "Well, you never had a real boyfriend before. Come on, Manny, go to her, get her. Come on, get her."
Oh my
Yo, Mandy was right on it. You never had a boyfriend though. How do you know, bitch? Back
That's
up.
true. Shoot.
For real, with her like hair bands and shit. Like, back up and get it together. So yeah,
Yeah,
so
it's like putting everybody under the bus.
Emma is just going like just trying hard.
Like, I want this man.
You ain't gonna let me do. Listen, I don't give a fuck about none of y'all. I want him.
No, but you know what I noticed while I was watching it, which also like I used to notice back then was they constantly say the word sorry.
Yeah.
That's why I was laughing when I was watching it, because I was like, the whole entire time, all I'm hearing is sorry, sorry, I'm
Sorry.
sorry, I'm not sorry, and I'm like, what the hell?
I'm not sorry that I'm a boot to kick that person's ass.
Yeah, about a boot.
A boot. It's a boot
So
time.
wait, so are they? Because I had a question with that situation.
Mm-hmm.
So with them having, it's a Canadian show, were they all like from Canada?
Yeah.
Oh. No, because like some of them kind of sounded like they didn't have that accent, and then some
Yeah.
of them did.
It's weird. It's kind of like in England, for example, they have like all different, like they all have British accents, but like different types. Like there's Cockney, then there's like Cockney is like "Aye mate," da, 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 and then there's like proper, which is "Oh dear, don't," like, so they have different like dialects and tones. I don't know, maybe if they're like, because I also know like in Minnesota and places like that, they also kind of have that sort of like talking style. It's weird. So I think maybe the more north, but I don't know. Yes, but they all are Canadian. The Canadian Destroyer. So then finally they're at a bar, all the adults. You got Spike, Joey, Lucy, and Snake. They meet Caitlin and Caitlin's fiance, Keith. Now, Keith, he's a movie producer. He makes fun of Joey's car ad, basically saying that Joey should avoid the shifty car salesman vibe. And Joey ain't playing now. Joey's like, wait a minute. He coming for
like, I
me.
did it anyway. I needed a commercial.
He's like, yo, this guy's trying to come for me. So then the ad comes and it shows Joey ripping his shirt off. Caitlin says, "Oh,
it's pretty corny."
it was.
It's super corny.
It so is." He's like, "I'm Joey, and I'm about to take my shirt off. Buy a car." Like, it's like, what's the point?
Yeah, like he was like, "I'll rip my shirt off." Like, okay, what does it have to do with anything?
He was like, "I'm gonna get myself somebody in my life, no matter if it be a woman or someone to buy a car."
Hey.
He's ready for that. Caitlin says something that really affects him. She goes, "Despite everything you've been through, you're still the same old Joey." And then Joey's like, "Yo, I'm gonna need a backup." And he says, "I've actually have changed." And then he gets up and goes himself to the bar alone. And then Snake sits with him and they discuss it. And Joey's left to kind of reconsider his choice to cut himself off from the world, and maybe he will go to the reunion. What did you think of Joey's meltdown? He has changed.
I feel like there's something more to the story of both. Like, I feel like because like everybody else was saying something to him, and yeah, like he took it bad. But when she said something, I feel like that struck a nerve for him, because it's like something must have really happened to them too for him to like be so like still upset about whatever the hell happened to both of them.
Yeah.
Know that like his wife died and stuff, but like I feel like that was more intense than when the other chick was like talking about, when Lucy was like, "Oh, it's been a year," like she said something and now it's a big deal.
Yeah.
So I don't know, something's like a little off.
Yeah, there's something that we don't know yet, and maybe it's because we never watched Degrassi High to kind of know about his character. But I mean, he seems like a regular, chill person. I mean, maybe back then in high school he was bad, not bad, but like, rough. I don't know, but maybe he will go to the reunion. We'll see. Now comes my favorite part. Spike, Lucy, and Caitlin come back to Emma's house and they're singing "Come and Get Your Money." They're getting down. They're loud, and Emma comes down, and she basically talks to Caitlin, and she says, you know, do you think I should keep seeing Jordan even though my friends think it's not safe? Caitlin doesn't realize. I mean, we don't know if because Emma doesn't necessarily say that she met Jordan online. She just says she likes this guy.
That's
Should
true.
should she date him? And she's like, you know what? You just gotta have to take a chance and go for it. Go date him. Fuck what those people say.
I mean,
And
on top of that, she's drunk, so like she's not really that coherent with what's going on with the child. But
yeah,
like, I was just like, wait, why would you tell a young girl to just go for it? Like, but yeah, she didn't really specify how she knew this kid. She just said that she's liking somebody and that it seems serious, basically.
yeah, doesn't really give her much detail. So like, I agree. I was like, why is this lady telling this little girl to go meet some guy? But then I thought about it, and she doesn't. Emma doesn't tell her she met him on the internet. And you're right, she is a little tipsy. She's thinking about money. So she was just getting down earlier, and then this little girl asking her about love. She's like, "Kid, whatever the fuck you want, go ahead. I'm ready to sing and dance some more.
Right? She's like, leave me alone. I'm just gonna
I'm gonna
dance.
shake my money maker." Um,
Yeah.
so at the end of the episode, she decides to meet Jordan. Emma emails Jordan back saying that she wants to come to Toronto and meet him, and then she goes, "Sometimes you just have to take a chance and go for it." Click, and she sends the email. Um, Do you have any sort of prediction for what's gonna happen in the next episode? Like, what do you think is gonna go down?
I highly doubt it's Jordan. Like, I highly doubt it's like the actual kid.
The hideous
Because the way
child.
it sounds, like, even the fact that he's saying, um, like what JT mentioned, like when he was like, how come he's still like doing that? It's summertime. So it's like, why is he a part of that now? Like, what
Mm-hmm.
is that? It doesn't add up. So the way that he's saying things, like, just doesn't seem like it goes with what's the truth about whoever this Jordan kid is.
Or he could be a real person.
True. I don't know. I don't think so.
Yeah,
Only because of that scenario. Because he
yeah,
really like, why would he do that in the summertime?
that's true. I mean, it is a little weird. And you will see, we will see in next episode. How Jordan kind of snakes his way into everything. But what did you think of this being the first episode of the show? I know you don't remember seeing it. What do you think about this being the starting point of Degrassi: The Next Generation?
I think they did a good job because the fact that it leads into another episode really hooks a person to wanting to watch the rest of it. So
Yeah,
that's definitely that's a very smart move on their end.
yeah,
Because that would have made me be like, hey, I need to figure this out. Like, I need to find who the hell's Jordan and if he's real. So,
yeah, yeah. I agree. I think it's a good
do you think
episode.
that?
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, like, do you think that Jordan's real?
Um, I don't want to say because I know. I listen. I think if
Well, before you saw it, since you already saw it,
I think
what
you
were your
kind
thoughts
of
beforehand?
I think you can suspect he's not going to be real just because it's like, like what would be the whole point? You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, I met a guy online, I'm going to go meet him. Hi, you're real, So it's just like,
I mean, you never know.
yeah. But I will say that for the time, it was very, in my opinion, controversial because it's like 2001, like you said, like there wasn't it would be much easier for something like that to be on the down low because like you said you don't really know who you're talking to. There's nothing you could look for. And I think that the fact that they were showing kids is courageous because like I bet a lot of people are like, I'm not putting this on TV. I'm not gonna, because it does get pretty dark the next episode. So I
I
think
think
they
they
were
really
courageous to
set the
do that.
bar for like showing the reality of life. like the
Mm-hmm.
reality of things of like when it does happen.
Yeah. Yeah. And it could happen to anybody, no matter if you're a guy, girl, old, young.
That was a thing. Like it is very controversial at that time.
Mm-hmm.
Because like he said, like for especially for kids to watch something like that, kind of like how like like parents wouldn't want you to watch something like that, but it's like you have to because that's literally I feel like back then they wanted us to stay away from stuff because they thought like if we did see it, then that's something that would probably be a part of our life. But either way, like even if we don't see it, it's still happening.
Yeah.
So
you're like ignoring
it was
it.
a bit controversial.
Yeah.
The whole is really
totally.
But,
well,
I think it's a good idea to watch.
I'm showing my child this, but also I was gonna say, now you could be like Dina Lohan, okay, and never meet the person, only have an online relationship, and get married. So I mean, that's possible. You know,
plenty of people.
You know, Dina Lohan's a very credible person, so I think that
she knows what she's talking about.
She's pretty normal. So I think that, yeah, I'm just kidding. She's not. But anyways, thank you for tuning in to our episode 1, Degrassi, The Next Generation Mother and Child Reunion, Part 1 recap. Make sure you subscribe, hit the like button, hit the notification bell to stay notified when new content is created. What was that, she?
No, I was gonna say it helps us out.
It sure does. Help us, please. We need some serious help. Also, no, you're fine. I was, gosh, where was I? I was saying something about, oh gosh, I don't even know. I guess it's time to go. Oh gosh, gosh ain't gonna help me now. Anyway, so like I said, yep, make sure you subscribe, hit the like button, hit the notification bell, as Shisha, that's what I call her, as she said. It helps us out for sure. If you like what you see, also make sure you do that, because then you can have more content if you like it. Also, leave a comment. What was that?
It shows on the newsfeed.
It sure does. I'll let you know. The first episode, you get to see it before anybody else does, so hit subscribe. Cool. You're popular now. The cool kid. Also, make sure you comment. Let us know what you thought about this episode. What did you think? Did you think Emma is really going to meet Jordan? Do you think it's fake? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Again, thank you. I'm Anthony.
I'm Shaisha.
And thank you for tuning in.
Bye.